everybody, welcome back to Belle's Book Corner. I'm reviewing actually a series today. This is the Monument 14 series. It's actually a trilogy. The third one has not come out yet and I'm really anxious for it and I have to wait until June. Oh my god, this is like ridiculous. Why do books take so long to come out? Get a move on. Write the dang book. Who's this by? Emily Laybourne. Write the next book. Come on. Chop chop. Right now. Anyway. So this is a really great book. The first one is just called Monument 14 and the cover looks kind of spooky. Very spooky. There is a bunch of kids on a rooftop here. They're looking at this giant cloud of nastiness. Basically what it would be like to be trapped in Walmart when the world ends. Now the book starts off, there's a bunch of kids, they're on their way to school when all of a sudden there's this massive hailstorm. The hailstones are as big as minivans and the bus driver decides to crash the school bus into the superstore there. It's a mega store, I don't know, it has a lot of stuff. It's like it has more than Walmart does. Anyway. So there's a bunch of high schoolers and little kids, there's like 14 of them, and they are trapped in the superstore. And after the hailstorm comes an earthquake, a giant earthquake. I don't know if there was a tsunami or anything like that. I feel like there was. I feel like there was a tsunami. That happens a lot in almost every disaster book. So anyway, there's a giant earthquake that starts in like Colorado or something. That's where this takes place, is Colorado, Monument, Colorado. So there's a giant earthquake and then all of a sudden, and then due to the earthquake, which was a huge, I think they said it was like a magnitude like 8 or 9 or something like that. So there's a government like chemical warfare facility, NORAD or whatever it's called, that gets like completely destroyed during the earthquake, and then some chemical warfare leaks out and it like takes over the country, and it's a really weird kind of chemical warfare that affects you by blood type. And let me like pull up the page so I can get this right. Okay, so people with blood type A develop severe blisters that eventually like burst and you bleed to death, and it's a really gruesome way to die. I don't even want to think about that. Blood type AB suffer from paranoid delusions and hallucinations and go crazy. Blood type B, nothing really happens to blood type B like severe, like they don't develop blisters, they don't go crazy. They unfortunately have long-term reproductive difficulties and sterility. So basically they're infertile, and then I found out, I was reading like a online like short story that the author had put on her website, that they can't like have sex. They just like, the men cannot get it up. Like it won't go up. Viagra is not going to help that situation at all. So, you know, yes, nothing really bad happens to them from the chemical warfare, but they can't have sex. Potato, potato. And then blood type O, I feel like is the worst type to have, even though the blisters would seem like a really bad way to go, but the O types go absolutely insane. They turn into like these rage-filled monsters and will attack and kill anybody on sight, which is like really, it's just unfortunate. Like they just go insane and there's nothing that can be done to help them except to like tie them down and get them away from the air. So basically they are trapped inside the superstore. They cannot leave it because they will either develop blisters and die, or they will go crazy, or they will not be able to have sex. So you have teenagers and little kids trapped in the store. Surprisingly, they manage very well. They develop a chain of command. They put somebody in charge. They put somebody in charge of like cooking, and somebody in charge of like taking care of the little kids, and they build a little home inside the Walmart. If I were trapped in a Walmart at age 14, I would go completely berserk. I would go eat tons of candy and junk food and play in the toy aisle and just make a mess. But these kids don't do that. They really just like step it up and learn to take care of each other. Everything's going very well, and then two adults come into the store and they bring them in thinking that they're their friend, that they're going to help them and they're going to rescue them. One is an old man. He was like in the military or something like that, and the other was actually somebody who worked at their school as a janitor, so they trusted these guys. And then it turns out that the janitor guy was actually kind of a perv and molested one of the little girls, and somehow guns got involved and one of the kids got shot, so they decide they're going to try to make it to Denver. They're going to make it to Denver to get the shot boy medical help and to evacuate and hopefully find their families. That's where this starts off. This is Monument 14, Sky on Fire. This is talking about their expedition to get to Denver. Only some of them went. Everybody who was type O decided to stay behind because they were afraid that they would attack everybody on the bus. They decided to go in the old school bus that they got working again somehow. This was a very short read. Like, it took me a day. I started reading it at like 8 in the morning and I was done by 10 o'clock at night. But it was a really good, the people going to Denver their bus got hijacked, so they had to go on foot, and then they were rescued by a guy, old guy, like in his 80s, who was living in like an underground bunker. He rescued them, he let them like recuperate in the bunker, he fed them, he bathed them, and they somehow made it to Denver on foot. And it was like an 86-mile journey. It was a little far-fetched, but this whole thing was far-fetched. And then the ones staying in the superstore, let's see what happened. The crazy people who hijacked the bus decided to come and try to break into the store. The main character, Dean, went crazy. Like, the people who hijacked the bus, I'm trying to make this make sense for you guys. The people who hijacked the bus took a like tractor fork loader or something and crashed it through the wall of the superstore. And as soon as like the chemical compounds got in the store, the main character Dean went absolutely berserk because he's type O. He took a chainsaw and like just completely cut those bad people apart with the chainsaw. I was like, wait, what? What happened? This was like a book for kids, I thought, but that got like really violent and it was intense. Who got to Denver found out that the US government was evacuating everybody that they could, and then they were going to take nuclear bombs and like bomb the heck out of Colorado to like disperse the chemical compounds. I thought that heating up the air would like make them go away or something. So they staged a rescue effort to get them out of the Walmart. It was a very intense, like, it was only like a few pages long. The rescue mission was like 3 pages long. Yeah, they found one of the kids who was in the Walmart's father showed up at the Denver airport, and it turns out he was like in the Air Force. He was a pilot. So they went with him in a helicopter. This whole thing like took 2 pages. They took a helicopter and they like sped like crazy through the air to get to Monument, to the like superstore, to like rescue these 5 kids that were still in the superstore, and then they raced back to Denver like as nuclear bombs were falling and the whole place was like burning up. So it was very exciting, very thrilling, very confusing. The author does a really great job of like talking about what would happen if the world ended, but at the same time they're still teenagers, they're still little kids, they're frightened, they want their mommy, they want their daddy, and they're teenagers, so their hormones are like going just like this the whole time. Like the main character Dean and has a crush on one of the girls that's trapped with them, and eventually, you know, they give in to desire, and you know, it addresses that, and so it does a good job of like keeping it real at the same time. Like, yes, it's a far-fetched idea, it's a far-fetched plot, but it still seems real, and I really enjoyed it. The characters were not like transparent or shallow. They were very three-dimensional and very like well thought out and constructed. Definitely page turners. I could not put any of these down. And like I said, they're very quick reads. They're phenomenal. And this was actually, these are actually the author's first books she's had out, so this is really great. There's a movie coming out The movie deal is already set. They're working on script and casting, and I'm really excited for it. At the same time, I'm really nervous at what they're going to do to it because we saw how well The Hunger Games turned out. They can never properly portray a book as a movie, so we'll see how it comes out, and hopefully June will get here before I know it so I can have the last book in the trilogy. I have such a hard time reviewing books. I feel like they're all scattered and not very, you know, understandable, so let me know what you guys think. You should definitely go check this trilogy out. It's phenomenal. It's by Emily Laybourne. Amazon has it really cheap. Oh, yeah. So definitely if you're looking for a new book to read, this is quick and easy and just really great. I highly recommend it. If you guys have any other book recommendations for me, please leave a comment below, and because I am going to Books A Million here this weekend to pick up some new stuff to read. So let me know in a comment below if you like this video. Give it a thumbs up, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!